The women's. First off, again, I want to backtrack a little bit. We were talking about this a minute ago. You handsome, glorious bastard. Look at you. What a hunk of man
Oh
you
no,
are.
I'm out of the game. I'm not in the game no more. I'm permanently retired.
You're retired? Nah, nah, hiatus, dude.
It's okay. I'm not. It's like when I turned 50, like 52 or so. That's when all this interest went out the window. Like my little Kuatu, my little clang in my pants was stopped running the show. So I was like, oh, okay, and now I'm free. Now
Thank
I'm
God.
free
Yeah,
to.
me too. It was a grinding, like, just force, just pushing me toward the edge of oblivion all the time.
Right.
And I finally am at a point where I'm not just driven by it. But it's funny because it seems like about the same time that, and plus you and I both were in Austin. We can go into what a shit
Yeah.
show dating in Austin is,
Yeah.
totally. But a lot of this, I was noticing all this friction in the dating environment and how difficult women were becoming. And I internalized a lot of it and thought, this is me. What am I doing wrong, man? Why does this never work out? I'm coming with, integrity and honesty to the most part. And dude, nothing was working. And I thought, it must be me. It must be me. And, I've kind of been harping on the man-vision, man-verse for a long time. And trying to express some of these things I was feeling. And eventually it's become apparent to me that it wasn't me.
Right.
And men are starting to find their voice now in
Yeah.
this dimension, thanks to some of the young guys,
Yeah.
really. But a lot of things they're saying, guys like you and me have been thinking it forever. And there really was some type of societal dysfunction kicking in amongst women.
Well, I don't think it's dysfunction. I would think it was actually a program, an intentional program to like put them at female primacy, which I call the gynofascism. It's very female first society, and this is an intentional program. I mean, you look at the origins of feminism and the Frankfurt School and things like that came into our country and to destabilize and depower the family unit, specifically the extended family. People say the nuclear family. That wasn't really the target. It was the extended family, where you'd have support from inside your family as opposed to getting the support of the government. So I think that was an intentional program, and we're just seeing the effects of it and how people that have been caught in this system are wrapped up in it. And yeah, it seems like it might be just like a delusion or just a culture thing, but this was actually a program that was initiated in the 60s or so. That's when it started. Really ramped up in the 70s and early 2000s with Obama. That's when it went into overdrive. It just went full overdrive. It's like female first, female primacy, everything about the female, and men were actually not a part of this conversation at all. They were not part of the programming other than shut up, sit down, let the women lead. So that's my take on it. What are you saying there?
Well, in college, I took a lot of poli-sci, a lot of economics, and I remember hearing about how the original uh, barons of industry, Vanderbilt, etc., when industrialism was replacing our agricultural economy,
Yeah.
they needed to get women out of the home place. They needed to put them in factories. They wanted to impose on society an
Why?
industrial economy, and that meant changing the shape of the family. It meant changing what they call, there's a demand side to reproduction.
Yeah.
There's also a supply side, and it all has what they call ideal family size. And if you go to third world countries and agrarian economies, you need more kids to make the farm work.
Right.
And Americans, I think ideal family size was, between 5 and 9. And they said, well, we can't have a woman taking care of 5 kids. We need her in that factory.
Right.
And you remember they had child labor too at the time.
Yeah, yeah, that was a thing they pushed as well. That's been forgotten. They were trying to put the kids and the women in these factors and to reduce the labor costs.
Right. And that was way back in 1900s.
Yeah.
And so there has been kind of a steady through line of societal tampering with the family, with the female consciousness,
Yeah.
et cetera. And not to jump too far ahead, but when I hear all these boy wonder geniuses talk about AI remaking society, I mean, think about you could just look back at history and see the change that this has wrought.
Yeah.
And it led to children in factories, literally.
Right.
So who knows what that's going to be like? But yeah, I totally agree. Something happened. You remember the Virginia Slims
All
commercials?
that stuff. There was
And
massive campaigns to totally depower men, in particular, as the primacy. There's all this like, oh, patriarchy. It's like, hey, without a patriarchy, we don't have a society. Like, and so they've had to like not they had to condition women into this whole new role where there can be woman hear me roar and I can do anything a man can do backwards in heels and all that other shit, and put them in these girl boss roles, and then depower men and get them off to the side. And men have not had this inundated mind control. Like, I don't know another word to call it. MK Ultra, Ash experiment, the Milgram experiment. Those two experiments. If you don't know what those are, you know what those are? Milgram and Ash.
haven't heard of those
Oh
specifically.
shit.
So,
Okay, we'll talk about that later. But basically social conformity and bowing to authority. These two things are these.
women are herd animals. They want to herd up. They want to bow to authority. They take their marching orders from the alpha bitch.
Yeah.
You know, Oprah. Oh my God, Oprah. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
All that, Dr. Phil and
And
all the
men
soap operas.
are
Yeah.
rugged individualism.
Right.
We live closer to our dark side, I think, because it's so present in our physicality.
Yeah.
Whereas females, they kind of have this sense of entitlement and justification about their dark side. They don't necessarily, it seems like they don't reflect on it to the degree that we do as men.
Right.
So, like when you train a dog or an animal, you can't train an animal to do anything that isn't already in its natural set of behaviors.
Right.
You know? So I think the rebellion, the sense of superiority, all that is built into the female psyche already. And so they just manipulate it, they tweak it, they accentuate it, they give them encouragement. And at the same time that's going on, they're also disempowering men economically through the job market, through importing illegal aliens to take over those roles that men should be doing. Oh, there's no good men. I don't want to have babies. Falling birth rates because there's no good men. They don't have jobs. Well, why don't our men have jobs? You know, this I work at this, you know, major concern, and it's a giant factory, and it's 70% Hispanics. Don't get me wrong, good people work hard. Except our young boys should be doing those jobs and bring home a paycheck. And that way women couldn't say, I'm better than them. Because, you know.
Yeah, that nails it. Yeah. So we've got all these conflagration of social events that are coming from the industrialist class. This is the billionaire class that really
top down.
Adult males are a major threat to their power structure, and they've done everything they can, which is attacking women, right? Because a lot of men will follow what women do, and also without doing any ulterior programming. We've been depowered and been actively suppressed and made to seem bad, and there's all these political movements around it, and yeah, it's the industrial class pushing this stuff. But I'm mostly interested in hearing some of your stories that you've been relating to me about dating and your experiences dating. So I would like to go from this high level political stuff right down to the ground level of how are they acting on these? Because I've given up the apps a long time ago. I had another, as we discussed. I have a different method, which is on this channel, about how to meet and vet women in person without going through these crazy apps. And like you're still doing stuff on these apps. I'm blown away that you're messing with this stuff. Go ahead.
I got back into it after a many multi-year hiatus, and that's a topic in and of itself. It's like how these digital pimps inserted themselves into the meet and greet process. You know, I'm a child of the 60s and 70s, and I've always been the master of the cold approach.
Yeah.
You know, you walk up, you smile, say, hi, I'm Tony. And you start a conversation with a woman in public.
Yeah.
And that somehow or another, that became ick. That became sketchy. And some guy approached me in public the other day. Oh my God, it's so awkward. So somehow or another, these platforms became the rage. And, there was probably that dopaminergic hit from, swiping left. I think there's something in swiping left that sort of feeds that female's desire for to feel superior. I've coined the term hypergamy. If a woman went to a dance in the 1950s and there's 100 boys and 100 girls and the rank order, they all got to kind of figure out where they are in the hierarchy.
Yeah.
There's a certain corrective action there where a woman who's 50%, she's not going to be able to access that 100% guy and say, or the top 1% guy and say, oh, well, I'll let you in. There was a certain social pressure where people were kind of conformed to fit into the milieu in which they found themselves. But when a woman can swipe left, she gives her this sense of hypergamy, and it feeds somehow into that desire she has to feel superior. And
oh yeah.
So I think that's one of the issues is somehow or another that the app stepped in. And we willingly let it happen.
I mean, what are you going to do? A lot of these forces are outside of our control. That's the other thing too, Tony. Like, there is no solution to this stuff. We have to have a play all the way out. And you're right about the back in the day when you had to meet in person. Women would socially shame each other. It's like if you go after the top guy, he's gonna just run through you and throw you away, right? And you're gonna be all sad and depressed. Oh well, what were you doing? Like, women, when to capture men, they spread their legs open and they let the men have what they want, right? So, but if they go for the top guy, they're just going to keep running through these girls. These guys are going to get this reputation. Women are going to shame the women. Other women are going to shame those women. That's gone. That's gone. The shaming of like, what are you doing going after their football team quarterback when he's not going to marry you. He's not going to see in public with you. You're a slow Tuesday at midnight. He's going to give you a text, and that's all going out the window. So there's no shaming process. So they all think with this hypergamy process, they all think they're going to have the top guy, right? It's like they go shopping. It's like, I only want the best of the best. It's like, well, you may not deserve the best. Now you might be able to have sex with the best. You might have it might be your sneaky link, but that's not even shamed anymore. So they all think that they can get the top 10% guys, top 15% guys, and they all think that when they complain about men, they're complaining about those guys. That's what I discovered. It's like they're complaining about these guys who have a line of them out the door coming up. Like, okay, so for a brief moment in my 40s, I achieved that over 8 look, like with a 6-pack and the whole thing. When you go over a certain threshold, women will come running to you. You don't have to screen them. They will just come through the front door one after the other. And that's when I realized, oh, they're complaining about those guys, that they can't lock down a guy that's got a line out the door. It's like, you're not going to be able to afford it. I mean, you're not going to be able to do everything that's possible to keep me. I'm not, like, the moment they gave me a problem, they were gone. I was like, blocked, see you later, don't talk to me anymore.
Did you ever feel guilty for lining them up and knocking them down? Did you ever say to yourself, I'm kind of a dick?
No, I was looking for one that was reasonable, and they'd always do power plays on me. These women, all of them, no matter what they look like, they were I never did below a 5. Maybe once or twice, but I never, like, my limit, with the good looks and the body and all stuff had to be above a 5, and it was usually like 7s or 8s and up. And they all tried to do power moves. After the sex, they tried to do the lockdown. What are we? You're my partner now. You're going to do this for me and that for me. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm not.
You're probably talking to a whole bunch of girls, aren't you? Hold on. You're probably talking to a bunch of girls, aren't you?
Yes.
They've got like 50 dudes.
And that's the reason too. Like, once you have one and you're seen with these women, they all come running like, oh, like you're pre-approved and all sorts of stuff. It's like, this is nuts. And then go ahead.
Pheromones of many women on you. I hate to say it, but the women who are chasing the top 5%, they know these guys have play, and they that's what they want.
They want that, and they also want to lock them down. And if they let you, so I did an experiment. I see where would it go if I let one of these lock me down. It was terrible. These women are out of control. They think they can just run you. And the moment you let them lock you down, they don't want you anymore. It's like, that was too easy. It's like,
Yeah,
wait a second, what?
you want to experience some pain, move into a woman's house, be too available, be their 100% guy. And
Horrible, horrible,
look,
horrible.
it's the thing is that they have this, if women aren't choosy, if they aren't hyper selective, then the best male genes aren't passed on to
Correct.
successive generations,
Correct.
right?
These are
So,
survival instincts. Exactly.
so we get it. We get it. They're looking for the best they can possibly have.
Absolutely.
However, the problem is with any instinct, if you let it completely control you, at some point it's going to ruin you. For
Right.
example, on the other side, men, we want to fuck everything that moves.
Right.
Okay. We use a combination of long and short-term mating
Correct.
strategy
Correct.
where we want to lock down the best one we can get, but we also want to be able to mate with a variety of females, right? Well, as a man grows older and he wants to start a family, he wants to have a stable life,
Right.
he looks at, wow, I really can't indulge those base instincts I have to fuck everything that moves. I'm going to absolutely wreck my life. At some point, he has to learn some form of moderating those opposing drives and desires, right? Well, with the female, at what point does she say that, does she realize that this desire she has to be critical of the man she's with is actually poisoning everything in her life?
I don't think they do.
Miserable. It's making her children miserable. It's making her miserable because she can't just relax and be happy and accept her lot in life.
Right. Right. And the habit of like just doing the swiping and like that's like a shopping instinct for them, and they're looking for the best berries out there. And if they also have this thing of like, if I can get him, there's something wrong with him. What is that shit?
Well, there's something wrong with him, period. Even look, the 50% females, when they're with the 1% guys, they find fault with them.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Anything. They'll make something up.
Yeah. Or, so that's my point. And I'm not necessarily talking about the dating world now. I'm talking about the age-old relationship, Archie Bunker. I'm talking about the nuclear family. I'm not talking about in promiscuous polyland or anything else.
Yeah.
Saying that a woman in a relationship, she just can't help but, look at that dumb son of a bitch that she married. God, I could have done better.
Exactly. Not all. There's a small number, maybe 20%. They were raised right, or they're conditioned properly, or whatever. They don't think this way, but the vast majority are.
Real quick, I want to agree with that. I want to, and also say to the ladies out there, these are not hard and fast rules.
No.
I mean, there are good women out there. God bless you.
Yeah.
I know there are women out there who want to have good relationships and try to make it work with their man. And these are generally the people that you and I are looking for,
right?
And most men are looking for,
right?
That we want to find this. And
right.
I have to bow to some sincerity that they want to have a working relationship and all. But the instinct to be critical is inborn.
Yeah.
And the strength of the species relies upon it.
Right.
But at some point, can you just not be a bitch for a minute? Look, I got faults, man. I admit it. You could probably do better. You're free to try.
Yeah.
But I'm here. I'm trying. Give me a fucking break.
Yeah. It's and they don't have a. See, I believe that we were supposed to be in these Dunbar number extended family, extended community.
I agree. Explain that real quick, the Dunbar number and what it means.
Yeah, I think default human communities are supposed to be about 100 to 150 people where they're stable over time. You know these people over time. They care about you. You care about them. And you're in one place and you have to work together just to survive, right? Because usually when it gets to be 150 or so, they split. And they'll have separate communities with some interaction, but most.
Great. In other words, they say you have a limited ability to truly love more than like 2 to 5 people.
Right.
You have a limited ability. I think it's like an exponential scale to know and be familiar with and have positive relations with maybe 10 to 25, right. To know to some degree another number and max out. There's how many people you can know and recognize and be familiar with. How many did you say? Was it
between 100 and 150? Somewhere. It's just different cultures have different numbers, but it's around there.
Right, right. Like how many people can you truly love and be loved back by?
And they know
Oh,
you and all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
right. Yeah. So I think that's true.
So when we don't have this, these other, so I believe that these instinctual drives kick in because they don't have anything to tamper it down with. Like I always talk about the crones. Like you have the maiden, the mother, and the crone. These three phases of women, right? And they all want to be stuck in the maiden role. They don't want to do the mother thing anymore, and they definitely don't want to be a crone. But the crones in a Dunbar society would tamper down the maidens and encourage the women who are mothers, right, to maintain that lifestyle and say, look, this is as good as it gets. You have a good man. We have a good family, and he cares about you. He's not the best guy. They're never the best guy. Like the crones would tell them, it's like a guy that's not cheating on you and is supporting you and teaching your family and teaching your young how to like exist in this society. That's the best. That's the best you're gonna
You
get.
can do better, girl. Get out there. You just got that man. You can do better, girl power.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the maidens are the ones that are all talking and influencing each other with the super dating and staying young forever. Like that's so important. It's like they don't get the message that motherhood for men, motherhood is the ultimate. Like for to have a wife and a mother that cares about her young and to supports her man, that's the ultimate. The crones are the ones that you were tampering that down, and that's all gone. So this industrial girl power thing has taken the crone's ability away. They are now put into old folks' homes. They're not part of the society. They're unseen, right? And so we lost that connection to like wisdom and true human relations.
Matriarchy.
Right.
A functioning positive matriarchy.
Yeah. Underneath the patriarchy that encourages and defends this way of
Yes,
life, and that's
yes,
been
yes.
destroyed.
Because men and women, even in hunter-gatherer societies, in agrarian societies, generally speaking, boys hang out with boys, girls hang out with girls.
Right.
Then they come together for a brief time when they mate and form families,
Correct.
and they those kind. But if you look, there'll still be women over here in a quilting circle and men over here playing bocce ball, and the mixing isn't really supposed to be on all these levels in all these ways.
Right.
And so we've just thrown the baby out with the bathwater. You were talking about so like I said, I recently got back on dating sites and I'm looking at all these profiles and I'm looking at the values that the women are putting forth, and they're all leading with I'm Supergirl. I'm a super confident career woman looking established, looking for same.
That's
Here's
a
my
program. That's definitely a program.
drinking martinis in expensive places. I love to travel. I want you to take me on 10 vacations a year, spend 10 grand per vacation. I'm here. Here I am in Rome. Here I am having, on the Champs-Elysees. Here, oh, horses. Here I am with my horses. I love horses. Oh, must love pets. Dude, the stories I have with women. And
Let's hear a pet story because it's out of control. It's like it is a replacement. It's a replacement for having children. Go ahead.
Okay, how about this? I'm talking to a lady. She's very sweet. She says, I have a real fear of thunderstorms and lightning. So she adopts a dog that was a rescue that was lost in a hurricane. So now, whenever they have a thunderstorm, they all have to cower and cuddle in during the thunderstorm. And I was trying to explain to her, well, the way dog training works is you have to give a dog a central command around which it can focus its attention, so that when it's stressed, when it's feeling anxiety, you say, no, not anxiety, sit at attention. And they think you're being bossy and mean, like a big mean dad, when really what you're doing is you're focusing the animal's attention and lessening its trauma and lessening its anxiety. So, oh yes, I want a man who's going to love dogs. I've got 3 freaking Labradors.
It's this therapy speak that happened in the 90s. Like it just infiltrated their consciousness, and they think that the animals are this other thing. It's like they're very confused. Let's keep going. Sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead.
They're projecting all their weaknesses, all their trauma through these animals, and you have to. I think what they're doing with their animals, by and large, is creating boundaries to intimacy. They're putting up a boundary that you have to somehow or another.
Interesting.
hurdle this thing.
I didn't
And
know that. I didn't see that, but that's definitely a part of it. It's like a shield. Like if you don't match up, at least I have my dog. It's like
yeah, oh, exactly, because they're afraid of loneliness and being by themselves.
yeah,
They have to have that little fur baby for their misplaced maternal
yeah.
instinct, you
It's
know.
multiple things. I didn't get the thing about the barrier to intimacy. It's
Oh,
totally a thing.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've seen this so many millions of times, and they treat this animal who has a pack mentality, who relates to an alpha, and they project on him. Oh, like when my dog comes home, he jumps up on me because he's giving me a hug. It's like, no, man, that's a dominance behavior. The dog is saying, "You're my human, I own you." Like, and you should be saying, "No, I don't allow that. Get down, get down." You don't, you know. So a lot.
Misplaced. Yeah,
Uh,
misplaced. Go ahead.
I mean, I've literally, not to get to, but like dogs in the bedroom, I sleep with my dog. And what? You're not going to want to sleep with my dog? It's like, are you kidding? How do you get a good night's sleep with this fucking dog on the bed moving,
They probably don't.
balls, farting, rolling over, in and out? Like, my God. One time, okay, here's one. Here's a story. One time on the dating sites, it's like the woman asked me a question. How do you feel about sleeping with your dog and giving it kisses on the lips? So I responded, well, I believe in healthy, hygienic boundaries with my pets. I think if a woman was coming over to my house, I would put the dog outside and maybe briefly introduce them, but I would want to completely focus on the my guest, my female companion, to let her know that she is what matters to me. And I honestly don't like the idea of sleeping with pets because I don't get a good night's sleep. And how are we going to have intimacy? You know, when there's a dog in the bed. You know, one time, dude, I was with this woman and had a fucking pit bull, and when it got exciting, you know what I mean? That pit bull in the room was jumping up and almost bit me on the fucking ass. Jesus Christ, put your dog outside. So anyway, I say this, like, healthy hygienic boundaries with my pets. And I said to her, would the man you would want would not play second fiddle to a dog? And would you, as a woman, play second fiddle to a man's dog? Hell no, you wouldn't, girlfriend. No way, he's got to prove that I'm the best. I'm what matters most. I had a buddy, you know, it's the same with dudes. I had a buddy, and he had this old fucking fart machine, female dog, you know, white faced old dog that was on his lap 24/7. The minute he comes home, the dog's up on his lap, you know. And I would say to him, dude, how are you going to get a woman on your crotch when that dog's on your crotch 24/7, man? You know, like, can we healthy hygienic boundaries? So I say this to the woman, healthy hygienic boundaries with my pets. And her response was, I can see we're not a match. I can see we're not a match. You walk in,
I
the
don't
dog,
get it. It's like, do they not
oh,
see that how they're prioritizing certain things and how they're being their own worst enemy with this stuff? And we got a couple minutes left here. I have another topic I want to like to bring up because they, I mean, after maybe we'll do another show after this. But how they are their own worst enemies with this stuff. It's like I think there's a point where it's like you're not going to be able to find these women. I think they're all broken and they're messed up. You have to find one that is willing to be trained. You're gonna have to train them, and you'll be like, "Are you willing to be trained?" Because that was my I couldn't find one. I was like,
Chris, train me hard. Train me hard.
they're not willing to take correction. They're not willing to be like, hey, that's not going to lead to a good place. They really have this anti-natalist bent where they don't want to have children. They just want to go travel all the world. It's like, don't. If I've been traveling for a while, every place looks the same. They have the same shit. It's all the same ingredients.
Yeah.
There's really nothing different. It's all and the tourists. They all look the same. Just go to a mall and you'll get the same experience of traveling around all these different places. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say the passport bros are barking up the wrong tree.
Well, they had it for a minute, but this feminism thing is worldwide now. It's worldwide because
Well, it's not just the feminism, but when I was in college, I took anthropology, and we read a book by anthropologist Napoleon Chagnon, who was later criticized for some of his non-professional methods, but that's not the point. The point is, it's Yanomamo Indians in the Amazon jungle, and guess what? When the chief's wife gets older, she loses interest, man. She ain't interested in your old ass anymore. You know, she's seen it, done it, had a couple of kids, ain't interested. They lose interest. Even in a hunter-gatherer society where they have a naturalistic diet, where they're not being programmed by the Bilderberg group, where they're not, none of that stuff's happening. These natural tendencies, I hate to say it, but you know, we kind of we're apart. We come together to be reproductive and procreated. Then we kind of come apart again. And so I think the males, especially young males, they're not getting any training on how to navigate
Zero.
the
It's all
world of
instinctual, and
male.
it's all like set up for these industrialists to fail. Like set up to fail, set up to extract the value out as much as possible until they figure it out. And then if they age out, then they're off the list. They're not even part of the target
Our
audience.
young males, again, the Amazon River, the Amazon jungle analogy, are young males, these poor young guys with their bird's nest haircuts, and that these are some of the guys who are actually starting to wake up and see some of the paradigms, and we're sending them out there to deal with these young females who are, just already killers. I mean that in the not in the literal sense, but
No,
that
they're ruthless. They're definitely
already tech
schemers.
savvy. They already have, with the phone. Oh, look at me with
The
the
filters and
Instagram.
the push-up bras and all the stuff,
Well,
all the lies they put on their face to make
older
themselves look
dudes
like a
trying to hit
maiden,
that.
way past their prime.
Older dudes trying to hit up on a girl, a 16-year-old girl. And then these young guys who are their peers are like, how do I compete with
You
that? These
don't.
girls have attention of thousands of
You
followers.
don't.
And meanwhile, this young girl, she's on behavior meds, and so is her mom. And we're sending them out there to deal with that. It's like, why not just put them in the Amazon jungle with poisonous plants and venomous animals? So we need to instruct them on, and what's really gonna happen when you encounter women on today's marketplace. They're totally ill prepared. And guys like you and me, we went through that. We've been through several phases of this, and we're looking at it now. I'm kind of optimistic that maybe some people are starting to wake up. What do you think?
I think we need to continue the show, the next show, because we're at 30 minutes and we
All right,
another. So
Aaron,
let's stay on here. I'm gonna stop this recording and go to part two.
or I'll just stay where I am.
Yeah.
Good talk.